called the landscape mode. Some of you will fail to do that. You'll take it like this, which is wrong. But you take it in the landscape mode and fold it in thirds so that you're going to end up with a tip like this. So the way to do that is to take the bottom of it and put it up here halfway up the remainder and crease it, and then fold this part in here and crease it again, and then straighten it out and write your name. Make sure you have plenty of room, but if you run out of room, then turn it and write it on, try again, you know, because you have 3 chances. You have 3 chances to get it right. First you do yours, and you pass paper around. These are index stock bought from Staples. No, it's not index stock. It's actually called card stock. Which is even heavier. I think it's 116 pound. Yeah, that's a paper. And leave some at the empty spaces. As I told Forrest, this will be a combination of Trivial Pursuit, What's My Line, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Any of you listen to that on, yeah. Wait, Don't Tell Me. Then we'll do some survey questions. And here's Ron Lawson, excellent. And I tell you, as each person answers a question, they have to begin by saying, "My name is," and then pronounce their name clearly and strongly. And if it's not clear enough and strong enough, then I will pronounce it clearly and strongly. Oh, and so we'll proceed. And as we proceed, now the markers are there are a couple of markers on each row, so just fetch those and pass those along. And
got one?
And as you hear some of the questions, you may think of questions that you yourself would be interested in having someone answer. In fact, one of the questions is going to be, now Jeff, are you hesitant to use your last name?
I was thinking about that.
Well,
it doesn't do any good at Smith.
No, we need to know that. You can put it in small letters if you want.
How about Jeff S?
Okay, I'll tell you what. You can leave your last name off, but when we call on you, you have to say Jeff Smith.
By the way, Dr. Branson needs an extra one.
Yeah, give me 2.
Why is that?
His name's so long.
The name's so long. Yes.
I think we got to
Your name is kind of long too. Yeah. Okay. One of the other things we're going to ask is, do you know somebody in the room who has a special achievement, a special honor, a special distinction? Now, see, right away, our most scholarly friend, Ron Lawson, has folded his sheet portrait mode instead of landscape mode. I think Tony did too. These PhDs are really, yeah. Okay. Excellent. For some of the latecomers, I'm going to fold some.
Is this according to the script?
Well, by the way, folks, next Sabbath, the Branson class will meet at 9:30 in this room for breakfast. We're going to have, I think we're going to have bagels and some kind of drink. Now, I'll tell you now, while there's only a few people here, I think there'll be hot water available. So if you bring Starbucks Via, you can make your own coffee. We won't ask about that. One of the questions we're going to ask today, see who knows the answer, is where on the campus of Loma Linda University Health, where can you get regular coffee?
The psychiatry department.
Medical center.
Most nursing stations.
The church cafe.
There you go.
Let's see, was not quite. Oh, we are started. We should have prayer.
We need it
Prayer.
now.
So
That might have a smaller microphone.
that's right. Okay, let's bow our heads. Lord, thank you for the wonderful variety of talent and experience that you've brought together in this room, and help us today to learn more and more about the blessings you have shed upon us, or the trials and sufferings that we have endured. In Christ's name, amen.
Is this working now? It was. We're having trouble with this microphone. I don't know why it's not.
Well, I can be heard. When my wife learned that I was going to do this, she was horrified, because she thinks I suffer from, what is this? Is it Augsburger syndrome, where you're very socially
Asperger's.
awkward? Huh?
Asperger's.
Asperger's, yes. So, because I'm very awkward in small social situations or meeting people individually. I say I can never remember a name, and I always forget a face. And so, but what she doesn't remember is that when it comes to addressing large groups, I have no problem at all. I could address the United States Congress, at least the House maybe now, on 5 minutes' notice without getting nervous. Senate may be a bigger problem for me currently. But anyway, we will begin. Now, as I say, when you have the answer to a question, raise your hand.
I'll go to the.
Okay. Oh, one thing we should do is turn off our cell phones.
Forrest, I'm going to keep the camera on him.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
And so then they'll only hear the sound.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me turn this off. Sounds and vibration. Mute. There we go. Okay. So the first exercise. When you're going to answer a question, you have to start with "My name is," and give your first and last name. And folks should look around and see how you've spelled it. And then, before you actually answer the question, I have several questions that I want each of you to answer about yourself. And those questions may change. But the first question is a kind of a Jeopardy question. Now, isn't it on Jeopardy that the host gives the answer and you have to come up with a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the item. What question does this name answer? Albert Horsley. Albert Horsley. Now, during this exercise, you're free to use your cell phones to look up things on Google. So somebody look for Albert Horsley if you have your phone there.
Oh, I see a hand right there.
Should we assume this is coming from the Adventist Studies realm?
This one does, but not all. Not all of them do. Do you think you know the answer?
No, no.
What is your name? Say it loudly.
Leo Ranzelin.
Leo Ranzelin.
So,
Okay, so you have to answer some questions about this.
no, I don't know.
No, these are very
Hey, you
simple
raised your
questions.
hand.
Oh, no.
No. Leo, where were you born?
Just down the street in Glendale, California.
Glendale, California, where my brother was born. Well, I don't know, he might have been born in the Catholic hospital for all I know.
No, our hospital.
Hospital, yes indeed. Okay, where were you, now, in what foreign country have you lived?
I've lived in Brazil for 5 years.
5 years in Brazil. Okay, that's enough. Now,
Okay.
do you have the answer? Do you have the question for Albert Horsley? Okay, we'll leave that one gone. Here's another Jeopardy question. Lucille Miller.
Oh, I know who she was.
Let me give you a couple of, you have it?
I think she was the woman.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Donna Carlson.
Donna Carlson. Where were you born, Donna?
New York City.
New York
Oh.
City. How about that?
Queens.
Where did you grow up?
Here, Don.
The Bronx in New York, and my father was in the Air Force, so Kentucky,
father was in the-
Tennessee, Florida, Virginia, Japan,
Oh,
Texas,
wow.
California,
That's like me.
Alaska.
My mother was a poorly educated Adventist school teacher, so I went to 13 schools in the first 12 years of education. But that's not all because of her. Okay, now, who do you think Lucille Miller, well, no, what is the question that would, which Lucille Miller would be the answer?
I'm not sure, but the question might be, what woman was sentenced to prison for the murder of her husband? Adventist woman?
That's right, and what author made her infamous? What author?
I don't know.
Joan Didion, the story is in Slouching Toward Bethlehem, a collection of Joan Didion stories. Lucille Miller was an Adventist dentist's wife who murdered her husband. Fascinating story. Okay, now here's another, here's a general question. How many of you collect things as a hobby? Stamps, dolls, antique farm tools? Does anybody collect things?
Books.
Books?
There you go.
Oh, here's a man. Let Monty speak. Give Monty the. Okay, pronounce your name clearly.
Monty Butler,
Okay, Butler, where were you?
with an E.
Where were you born?
Dinuba, California.
Raisin capital of the world?
Excuse me, Kingsburg is my hometown, and it's the raisin capital.
Oh, I mean,
Yes.
but
I could look out windows of our second-story home and see the Sun-Made Raisin
you could.
place.
So Monty, what do you collect?
I collect small puzzles, like metal puzzles.
Like jigsaw puzzles?
Uh,
No, they're just sort of
puzzles that have various pieces that are hard to get apart and then hard to get back together again.
But only metal ones?
I have wood ones as well.
Yeah, wooden
but
ones as well. There you go.
I like the metal ones.
That's great. Now, Monty, where did you grow up, Monty?
Kingsburg.
Oh, you did move.
I am a Central Valley
Yeah, that's
Californian
right.
farming.
You didn't happen to know Clyde Evans, did you?
I did not know Clyde Evans.
Clyde Evans. Well, he lived with us in the White House at the seminary when we went there in 1966, and we were 5 of us who were unmarried, and we lived together, and we always remembered him coming from those towns. Well, so is it the case that Dinuba falsely claims to be the raisin capital when in fact, no?
They hid that from me. I didn't know that they were claiming that.
Maybe only he claimed that to try to give
And,
his
and
hometown.
actually, I would say, I don't think of Dinuba as raisin territory.
What do you think of it?
Well, they have more fruit trees in that area. Selma sometimes would fight for that title.
Okay.
A lot of
Well, we're
raisins.
going to get a bit of California history here too. So the next question is a California history question. Why do Southern Californians attach the to freeway numbers such as the 10 or the 405? Who knows why Southern Californians attach the to freeway numbers? Okay, well, I mustn't talk too much. I'll tell you later. Here's another question. Where is Holy Hill, and why is it so called? You know, Leo may know the name. No, Monty?
Monty Butler,
Monty Butler, good, good.
and I'm spelling it with a Y now. What is the other name for Angwin, California?
Oh, there we go. That's the second possibility.
Oh, you didn't say the holiest hill. I'm sorry, my mistake.
Dave, do you know Holy Hill? No, I don't. Okay. I'll tell you that one. Next to Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, there is a hill, and on this hill there are a number of theological seminaries, and that the Berkeley people call that Holy Hill. Okay, well, another Southern California. What is the real name of Mount Baldy? What is the real name of Mount Baldy? I'm sort of cheating here because some of these I only learned last week myself.
Mount San Antonio.
There you go. Give him the thing here. I want to learn some more about this man.
You don't want to.
Well, I'll control it. Don't worry.
Do you need a microphone, sir?
Yes.
He was born with one in his
Okay,
ear.
what is your name?
My name is Bernard. Not Bernard.
But
Bernard.
in your home country, they would pronounce it Bernard.
Just like that. That's how my mother pronounced it, and she should know.
And where were you born, Bernard?
In Perth, Western Australia.
Bernard, what was your first paid job as a teenager or a young man or a child? What did you first make money doing?
Coal mine?
I don't know. You hawk your lunch to your classmates. I don't care. How did you first make any money?
I made some money raising money for the St. John's Ambulance of Port Adelaide.
They paid you to do that?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
I had to raise more than they paid me. That was the condition. Yeah.
Did you raise very much more than they paid?
Oh yes, significantly more.
Okay. Well, that's good.
He was a cute little kid then.
What?
He was a cute little kid.
Now, this all started when I asked Leo Rancelin. I asked Leo Rancelin one day at the end of our meeting. I said, Leo, look around the room and tell me how many of these people do you actually know their name and something about them? He looked around for a bit and he said, 50%. I said, do you know more? I said, heavens no. I said, and so then I suggested this exercise to Dave. And next week we're going to keep these name tags and we're going to add more. We think we'll get more attendance next week because it won't be Mother's Day weekend and we'll have breakfast.
This isn't
offer.
Mother's Day weekend either. Ron?
Well, Bernard, what countries have you lived in?
I think you're in trouble. Next week is Mother's Day.
What?
I think you're in trouble. Next week is Mother's Day.
Oh, next week is Mother's Day. Well, I thought about that and then I thought to myself, that shouldn't be a problem here because it should be all your kids that are visiting you because we're all mostly old people. Go ahead.
What was your question again?
What countries have you lived in?
Oh, name them. I've been there.
Name a few. Name half a dozen.
All right.
No, you lived in, not just visited.
Australia, United States, the UK, yeah, Lebanon.
Lebanon. Okay. Why were you in Lebanon?
I was teaching there at the American University of Beirut.
Okay. Not at the Adventist school.
No.
What were you teaching?
Anesthesiology, the business that I was expert in, supposed to be.
Okay. Okay. Now, here's the next question. How many of you, I'm not going to ask all of you, but how many of you spent at least part of your childhood in poverty? Okay, now, let's ask, is it Lorna? Let's ask Lorna Beeson. First you pronounce your name. My name is...
My name is Lorna Beeson.
And where were you born?
Los Angeles.
And what hospital, do you know?
The White Memorial.
White Memorial Hospital, yes indeed. Are you still employed or retired?
Retired.
And what did you spend most of your working life doing?
I was a school nurse, worked in the public school system in Riverside, worked with pregnant and parenting minors and their children.
How about that? Okay. Let's see, what was I going to... Oh, about poverty. What do you remember most, if you were trying to persuade us that your family was really in poverty, you were really in poverty, what would you mention to prove that your family was poverty-stricken?
You'd have to clarify your definition of poverty. I was born into a family that my father was a physician, and he died when I was 8. And it changed everything. There were 4 children. I was the youngest. And it just created horrendous havoc. We sold our lovely home and moved to a little tiny house, which felt really bad at the time. We never went hungry, you know, but it was a huge lifestyle change.
Well, poverty is sometimes a state of mind, you know. You know, I'm sure there are millionaires in this country that consider themselves poor because they're not billionaires yet. And so there we have it. Okay. Now here's a kind of a secular question, but again, it will help us get acquainted. Who was Cosmo Kramer's attorney on Seinfeld? Who was his attorney? Okay, nobody remembers.
I think maybe.
Okay, come on.
I wish the people would answer on the same side that I am.
Fitness program.
Who said that?
What is your name?
John Thiel.
Okay, hold the microphone up. John Thiel. Where were you born, John?
Como Park, Maryland.
In the Washington Sanitarium?
That's correct.
It was called a sanitarium in those days, on the banks of Sligo Creek. Sligo Creek was not still navigable at the time, but anyway, John, how many countries have you lived in?
One.
One. Who was Cosmo Kramer's attorney on Seinfeld?
I remember that there was a black attorney.
Hold the mic up.
That there was a black attorney. He spoke very fast. And his name may have been Johnny.
You know what? He was modeled after Johnny Carson.
Cochran.
But
Cochran.
did,
Cochran or Carson?
did I say Carson?
Yes.
I'm confusing the Carsons and the Cochrans. Okay, so he was modeled after Johnny Cochran, his name on the program was Jackie Childs. And
Close enough.
yeah, the actor was actually Philip Morris. You can still see his. You still feel clips about Jackie Childs on YouTube. It's so funny. Okay, so John, how did you first make money as a kid or as a teenager?
Mowing lawns.
Mowing lawns. Did you do that regularly? Did you do much of it?
Well, in the summertime I did. Of course, the first lawn I mowed was my own.
Did you persuade your parents to pay you to do that?
No, I didn't even think of asking. But my dad, who did some printing on the side, he also had another job. Printed up some cards that said lawn mowing with my name and my number, and I went around the neighborhood passing these out.
Was your father a printer?
Well, he learned printing at Academy, and then when he was away at college, at Emmanuel Missionary College, and it was his second job sometime.
And this was the kind of printing where you actually had to set each letter in the form?
Yes,
Yeah.
it took some real skill. He wanted to learn the linotype. I guess that was better pain, but he didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, at least we know he did watch a few episodes of Seinfeld. Okay, now, let me see. For who is here today, or whom you know sometimes attends, is woodworking a hobby or a skill? Okay, Donna knows, but I want somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Nobody seems to know. Oh, Tony might know. He's going to try.
I don't know how often he attends, but Jerry Winslow's a woodworker.
Oh, no, get the mic here.
That's right.
You gotta give your name. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Tony, my name is...
My name is Anthony Zuccarelli.
Anthony, otherwise known as Tony Zuccarelli. And Tony, what is your scientific skill or
Well, I was
academic skill?
trained in molecular biology.
Molecular biology. Okay, and
Now retired.
now retired. And whom do you know from the class who is a skilled woodworker? Whom do you think?
Well, Jerry Winslow, for one, he doesn't always attend here. Ron Carter's also a woodworker.
Ron Carter?
Yes,
How
he's
about that?
provost of the university.
Isn't that something? Now, Tony, where were you born?
The same place as my good friend to the left. New York City, the Bronx.
Isn't that something? Did
oldest
you know
hospital-
that, Donna?
Yes, actually, I did.
You did
We were
know
part
that.
of the.
In the oldest hospital of New York City, Bellevue.
Bellevue, man, very famous. There's a whole book about Bellevue Hospital, and I think Dr. Kellogg took some of his.
psychiatric hospital. It has a very large psychiatric ward. I wasn't part of that.
Where early on they helped confirm that masturbation causes insanity. But anyway, so now, Tony, let me ask you another question. What odd item was found on the elegant table at the elegant dinners that were served by William Randolph Hearst at San Simeon? What odd item that you normally wouldn't find on a formal table? Does anybody know that? Again, my mind is filled with trivia. He would put the actual ketchup bottles on the table.
That was right.
Weird. Okay. Let's see if I can find one that. What was James White's middle name? What was James S. White's middle name?
Sylvester.
James S. White. Oh, I'm getting too many hard questions here. What Adventist school has a dinosaur museum and why? Oh, that's why what?
Would that be La Sierra?
No, but Forrest, as long as you're speaking there, what is your name?
My name is
Come on, microphone.
My name is Forrest Howe,
Yes? Where were you born?
Lansing, Michigan.
And where did you go to high school or academy?
Mason High School.
Non-Adventist?
Yeah, normally public schools are not.
Yes, okay. And were you a Seventh-day Adventist at that time?
Kinda.
How did your family get introduced to Adventism?
My grandmother Howe was an Adventist, and my mother, when she moved from Baltimore, when she married my father, she was looking for a church, and she liked my grandmother, and when we were about 10 or 12, started going to Adventist church, which really made me angry. I couldn't watch Roy Rogers or Captain Midnight anymore.
Oh, what a sacrifice.
Well, you know, the Dakota ring, crying out.
But eventually you decided, where did you go to college?
Michigan State University.
Well, at some point you actually decided to become a Seventh-day Adventist minister.
Well, I went to work.
How did that happen?
I went to work with Campus Crusade for Christ, and while I was there, I decided if I was going to be in some type of ministry, I needed more training. So I moved to Andrews and lived in the White House
Oh, you mean that
on 501 North Main Street.
is the one that the Lukes own?
Yep.
Isn't that something?
I was a second generation from you.
Isn't that something? And then you pastored in Pennsylvania?
Well, I started out in Memphis, Tennessee, then moved to the Far Eastern Division, which is Eastern Kentucky.
But now your expertise and you're making a living doing what?
Well, I'm semi-retired, but I do taxes and financial planning. But I worked for the church and then moved in. I got demoted to administration, to the office, and
Were you in Treasury?
I was actually in trust services work,
Trust services.
and then I was corporation secretary for Southern New England Conference.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we'll learn more about you next week, perhaps. Okay, here's another Adventist theology question. Let's see if we can find it.
Which is the museum? Where is the museum?
Oh, Southwestern Adventist
yes.
University. I want to go there and see if they have a diorama showing the dinosaurs and the humans in the same diorama, huh?
That's in Kentucky.
There's one.
Well, at the Creation Museum.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. James White's middle name was Springer. What was D.M. Okay, who was D.M. Canright? Does anybody know who hasn't spoken yet? Come on, Peter, you know.
Yes, I do.
Ron Lawson knows.
You ready to go there?
Let's use Peter here. I'll find another one that's. Okay.
My name is Peter Simperu,
That's how you say it. Simperu?
to make it American.
Oh, that's the American pronunciation. What is the pronunciation in your native land?
Chimpoyeru. Chimpoyeru.
Hey, that's good. Okay, now what did I say?
But,
Who was D.M. Canright? Who was D.M. Canright?
he was an Adventist minister that introduced the Holy Communion every 3 months, and he found some fault with Ellen White, and he apostatized.
He apostatized, yes. And do you recall what his first name actually was?
Dwight, I think.
No, Dudley.
Dudley.
Ah,
Yeah.
for once I stumped Peter. Okay.
Go back to school.
Now, where were you born?
I was born in Romania.
How many languages can you speak or read? Not counting biblical languages.
About 4.
4? Romanian, English,
French,
French,
and some Italian.
some Italian, not German.
No.
Does anyone here speak German? A little.
Put your
Jordan?
hand up.
And Jerry, what? Jeff, a little German? You know, I just had my ancestry DNA done. And I know that my ancestors were German, Swiss, Anabaptists who were persecuted in Switzerland and fled to Germany, or persecuted in Germany and they fled to Pennsylvania. There's a town there that was laid out by Christian Graybill in 1818 or something like that. My grandparents on my father's, by the way, my name Graybill is anglicization of Krayenbuhl. My grandparents on my father's side spoke German in the home. I have older aunts who were able to speak German. And on my ancestry DNA comes back, very little German. Very little German. My wife did hers, you know, and her name, Gerta, is Dutch. She got it over the family history from her Bakker ancestors who migrated from Holland to Denmark to teach the Danes how to grow potatoes. And her DNA come back and she had no Dutch, no Holland, mostly Swedish. Okay. Well,
and I think I should add also Russian, that we were forced to learn when the Russians invaded Romania.
You learned some Russian in Romania. Does anyone here speak more languages than he? Well, you have the record then. Here.
Should I receive a gift?
Yes.
What?
Should I receive a gift?
You got a gift.
Prize.
Oh, you get a gift?
Yeah.
Oh, you already have the gift of language. Let's talk to Yoli. Or is it Yoli? Let's talk to Yoli. Say your name and your last name clearly.
My name is Yoli Archer. I speak 4 languages also.
What languages do you speak?
I speak French, Spanish, English, and a dialect. But the dialect, I don't know how to read it because it wasn't in written form when I was little.
And what dialect?
It's a Creole form.
Creole dialect.
It's patois.
Where were you born?
I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
You're born in Haiti. And are you working now?
No, I am disabled.
You're disabled?
Yeah. I have a lot of diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. You know, it's a lot of things that happen after what I mentioned since 2005. I started just getting sick. Yeah.
Well, we're sorry. We're very sorry for that.
Thank you.
You couldn't be in a better class with all the doctors again. So well, we're glad you're here. Now let's go up here to Jeff and Kel. Just go up here on the top row. I want to talk to the Smith family, and then we'll talk to Arlene here. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we got plenty of time. Okay, what is your name?
My name is Jeff Smith.
And what are you famous for, Jeff? What does Kel say?
What was that?
Marrying me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, well, Jeff, are you still working?
Yes, I am. I work over at the FMO. Everybody knows what the FMO is.
Faculty Medical Offices.
Yeah, so I work under UHC Healthcare as a decision support analyst. So you're asking, what is a decision support analyst?
Yes.
Everybody wants to know what a decision support analyst is.
You decide whether to pay a medical bill or not?
Well, that depends. We'll help you answer that. But our department works and does reporting for the faculty medical group. And we are on the clinical side. So we do a lot of the support reporting, analysis for the different clinical offices. I'm boring my wife already, so she's got a big sigh.
Have you children?
2 children.
And how old are they?
I have a 17 and a 15-year-old.
Are they both in high school?
Both homeschool.
Both homeschool?
They utilize Gorman Learning Center, which is here in Redlands.
Okay, does that mean that you or your wife stay home part of the time?
Kelly would be staying home part of the time.
Jeff, where were you born?
Tacoma Park, Maryland.
Also in the Washington Adventist
That's correct.
Hospital?
Yes.
Was it called Washington Adventist Hospital when you were born, or Washington Sanitarium?
Well, what would 1962? Would you know if it was still Washington? Washington Sanitarium, wouldn't it?
It might have still been sanitarium. I'm not sure.
Sanitarium, I think still.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do a tour of Adventists in Washington and Tacoma Park, you know. And so I studied a lot about the history of that hospital. Well, let's speak to his spouse here. Give us your name.
My name's Kelly
Smith.
Smith.
Kelly. Where were you born?
Glendale, although my folks are Canadian, so it's...
How did it happen you were born in Glendale?
Well, all the Canadians come down here to go to medical school or nursing school and end up staying.
And so your father or mother were going to medical school at the time?
My mom was going to nursing school, and my dad was in the Canadian Navy and decided to follow my mom down here.
And, yeah, okay. I was thinking it was another question, but I couldn't quite. If you were not homeschooling and you were a happy, well-adjusted single woman, skilled in any occupation you would enjoy, what occupation would you think you would most enjoy?
Well, I am skilled occupation, but since I've had kids, I haven't been able to do it, so.
And what is that occupation?
I'm a physical therapist.
How about that? This is my wife.
My son was born with an immune deficiency, so it made it very difficult to work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that's good. Now let's go on down the road here to Arlene Klein. Let me see if I can find a question, Arlene, that you might be able to answer.
I'll clearly say.
Arlene, is coffee good for you or bad for you?
It depends on who you are, but it's bad for me.
Oh, there you go. A very diplomatic answer.
So Arlene Klein, born in San Bernardino, believe it or not, third generation San Bernardino. For people that are born here and stay here.
I mean, your grandparents they were born here too?
They migrated to here, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, they loved it, and it was apparently a lucrative place at one point, like 1,000 years ago. And
I think it was an all-American city at one time.
yeah, it was top of the line. And my mom and dad born here, and I was born here in one of these hospitals, don't know which. But here's something interesting about me. I have a Bible party every year.
You what?
A Bible party every year.
You have a Bible party, and what do you do at a Bible party?
I pick a theme and I ask everyone to either dress up or present something, paint something, tell about it based on the theme, and I ask grueling questions, and we switch papers, and we have interesting discussions. And I invite all types of people, atheists, agnostics, Adventists, Dancing Baptists.
Dave,
yeah,
there's another program for you.
It's a lot of
That'd be
fun.
We could do that here.
I'd love to bring my questions one time. I always ask 10 questions, and it generates the greatest discussion, which I record. And I do all of this on behalf of my husband because he has declared at one point in our lives that he was while I was an SDA, he was an SPA, a self-proclaimed atheist. And he's gone up and down, and now he's the king of video, social media influencer. And because he records the party, he has to edit the video, and he has to hear these discussions over and over and over again. That's my exposure. He has no idea.
He doesn't edit out the parts that he doesn't agree with?
No, he actually looks up Bible verses and puts them in print on the screen to correct
And
everyone.
how will we find, are they on YouTube?
No. This is a work of art that he only shares with Bible party members.
Oh my goodness, very exclusive. Well, we better have a Bible party here so we can look at them. So anyway, so Arlene, are you working now?
I do. I work at the School of Dentistry.
Doing what?
I am the receptionist in the Division of General Dentistry and do a little bit of report writing for IT.
Okay, when you say report writing, what is that?
Just a little bit of data mining for anyone who's interested.
Okay. Well, that is most interesting. Forrest, move right down the line to Mark here. Let's find out about Mark.
Does he have a last name? I don't see one up here.
He's going to tell us right now.
Okay.
I thought the second email said no recording. I imagine most standard viewers have probably lost interest to the program by this point. My name is Mark Horseman.
What sort of a name is that? I mean, national
That's a
derivation.
good question. I don't really know.
You don't really know?
Mostly Swedish on my mother's side, but they were Lashers. Horseman, probably English, German, something. We're just guessing. Northern European mutts.
Yeah.
Just a blend.
Have you had your ancestry
I
DNA?
have not.
Yeah.
Don't trust those companies. That's right. There's too many companies out there that what's the old saying? Well, even if you're paying a fee, if you are using a service that you're not paying for, you are not the customer. You are the product.
Yeah. Well, I frankly don't care if they catch some axe murderer by using my DNA, but be that as it may.
As long as you're not the
Yeah.
one that the FBI is looking for.
Well, you know, the other thing that makes me suspicious is my wife and I both get our DNA report, and neither of us have the ancestry that we thought we had. And so I'm going to go to 23andMe and see if they say, you know, your ancestry is from Central Africa.
I like to figure that we're all part of the 7.5 billion brothers and sisters living on a small blue marble.
Oh, did you ever see this Who Do You Think You Are program? They take a celebrity and they trace their things.
Oh.
Actually, that's bad grammar. It's whom do you think you are, correct? Anyway, so one of the supermodels, you know, they were tracing.
Who is correct?
Huh?
Who is correct?
Who is correct?
Yes, because R is a form of the verb to be, so you use the nominative case.
I just bought a book on grammar. I'll look it up. Anyway, she was thrilled to discover that she was a descendant of the Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne. I don't know. Charlemagne probably had 16 wives and 46 children, and probably half of Europe is a descendant of Charlemagne. It's crazy. So, Mark, what do you do for a living?
I'm a business manager at a skilled nursing facility in Pomona.
Okay. Okay. Are you married?
I'm not.
You're not married. Are you wealthy?
I am not.
Oh well, forget it then. Okay. Well, Mark, we really appreciate that. Houseman sounds like it might be a organization of
Horseman.
Horseman. How do you spell it?
Horsman.
Horseman.
There's half a dozen other Mark Horsemans in the world with no E. One of them is a football player in Europe, so I'll trade with him.
Okay.
Soccer.
Okay, Mark, let me ask you this. Would Joseph Smith approve iced coffee?
I have no idea. That's an interesting question.
Does anybody who hasn't spoken yet, LaDon, do you know if Joseph Smith would approve iced coffee? Dave Larson hasn't even spoken. Dave, surely you know the answer to this question. No. You don't? Bronwyn, do you know the answer to this question?
I would say yes.
Let's talk to the.
Here we go.
Let's talk to LaDon.
You opened up.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
My name is?
My name is LaDon Edashami-esque.
What's the middle name?
Edashami, actually, my...
Your birth name?
My birth.
Yeah. Where were you born?
I was born in Tehran.
Born in Tehran, and okay, so now you're still working, are you?
No.
You retired from what?
The last jobs I had, excuse me, I was a professor of public policy in American government.
And where? Here?
No.
You never taught here?
I have.
You have, but where were you teaching when you?
At Valley College, and I was teaching Cal Baptist and Cal State, all those places.
So you've taught at least four different colleges and
Yeah,
universities?
I done doing all over the place.
Has anybody taught at more than 4 colleges or universities? Well, maybe you have the prize for that.
It's
So,
okay.
Ladon, how old were you when you left?
Iran?
Yeah.
60.
What languages do you speak?
I speak Farsi and English.
Nothing else?
I've studied other languages, but I don't speak them anymore. I don't practice them as much.
Yeah, I've studied other languages too and don't speak them.
Thank you.
Now let's see. Let me see if I can find an interesting question for her. Oh, let me tell you about. What about iced coffee?
Because you're asking, I'm thinking he probably would have approved.
Now, the fact is that we don't know whether he would have approved or not. He disapproved of hot drinks.
See?
So I don't know if a Mormon can drink hot chamomile tea, for all I know. And the Mormons, some Mormons will drink Coke, which is caffeinated, but not coffee. And you know, it's just like when television came into the Adventist world. Because Ellen White had never known television or mentioned television, Adventists felt like they could watch television, right? And because Joseph Smith never knew anything about, I don't think they ever bothered with iced coffee in his day. It was always a hot drink. But anyway, it creates a little confusion for them.
What about how many wives he had?
How many wives?
Yeah.
How many underage wives? Yeah. That's been an interesting. Do you recall how many?
I think 30 or 32.
32. Yeah, well, that's an Adventist answer. Okay, Ladon,
Yeah.
what else are you famous for?
Not much.
Not much.
Cooking.
Do you collect anything?
I used to collect stamps as a child. I still have them, a lot of them.
Wow.
I cook.
You cook?
I
Here,
cook.
let me ask you this question. If you were really hungry and you wanted to eat something with no regard to the cost or your health, what would you eat?
Spaghetti aglio olio.
Oh, wow.
What was it?
Spaghetti aglio olio con pepperoncini. That's what I would eat.
Boy,
I like that.
most kids will say French fries or ice cream.
No.
No, but she's a cook, so she gets something exotic. Okay, listen.
Yeah.
Listen, I want you to come down here, Forrest. I want you to come down here to Ron Lawson. First, I want to find out if Lawson has any insight on Joseph Smith and iced coffee, but then I'll find another question for him. Okay, were you going to say something about first of all, who are you?
My name is Ron Lawson.
And where were you born?
Sydney Sand.
Sydney Sand? That's the Adventist.
Yes.
So your parents were Adventists? Yes. And how far back in your family does the Adventist heritage go?
Only to them.
Only to them?
Yes.
So you were, and how long were you in Australia before you came to the United States?
31 years.
31 years? Was all your education Australian?
To PhD, yes.
And where did you get your PhD?
University of Queensland.
Oh yeah, through PhD. But you've had further education?
In history and sociology.
History and sociology. And what are you famous for?
In these circles, I guess, writing about the sociology of Adventism.
That's right. And the founder of what's it called?
Kinship.
Kinship, the Kinship Fellowship, which gives support to gay and lesbian and any kind
LGBT.
LGBT. Yeah, that's right. Very, very good. Now, did you have any thought on Joseph Smith and coffee?
Not on that, but I have heard from Mormons.
Closer with the mic.
I've heard from Mormons that they can drink Pepsi but not Coke. because they have shares in Pepsi.
Oh, that could be because they have shares in Pepsi. You know, it's interesting. I'll interrupt with another little thing. Adventists have always been fiercely individualistic. And so wealthy Adventists tend to be physicians or inventors of medical devices or some occupation or pursuit where they can control their own work experience. They don't have to work on the Sabbath. Even in 1860, when we found a subscription list for the Review, before the church was organized, and we look at the occupations of Adventists in 1860, they were overrepresented among farmers in Michigan because farmers could control their own work experience. They were vastly underrepresented among laborers, working men, factory workers, and so on. They were already overrepresented among lawyers and doctors in 1860. The Mormons have always been very corporate, and so the wealthy Mormons are the Marriotts. And because Joseph Smith and the Mormons have never frowned on entertainment very much, there's Donnie and Marie, you know, and then there's Ancestry DNA grows out of Ancestry.com, which grows out of the Mormon interpretation of that Bible text, which says, else why do we baptize for the dead? I think they're dead wrong on their biblical interpretation, but God bless them for finding all this ancestry information. Yes, indeed. Now, Ron, who painted the girl with the pearl earring?
I've even seen the painting.
Okay. Anybody volunteer? Donna, who painted it?
Vermeer.
Vermeer. If it's Vermeer, do you know what country he came from?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands. I'm reading a very fascinating book about Vermeer and
Van Gogh.
Leeuwenhoek, the microscope man.
Oh,
They both lived within 150 yards of each other in Delft. What?
Delft.
In Delft. Oh, just a fascinating book. Anyway, let's see. So you were born in Australia, educated in Australia.
I finished it here. That's how I got trapped.
What? You did what?
I finished my education here. That's how I got trapped.
Okay, so what did you get beyond your education at Queensland?
I had a Fulbright to Columbia University postdoc.
Oh, I see. So you were at Columbia for a long time.
I was a student, a postdoc fellow for 2 years.
Okay.
And at the end of that time, one of the professors persuaded me.
Closer, hold it closer.
But at the end of that time, one of my professors persuaded me, on the basis of a paper I'd written, to write a proposal. And I was offered so much money that I couldn't go back to Australia.
They hired you?
I then did a lot of research on tenant-landlord relations and tenant-landlord conflict
Oh, I
in New
see.
York.
You weren't actually a professor at that point.
Well, once I got offered that much money, everybody wanted me. So.
Oh, I see. Very good. He has also been the longtime sponsor of the Adventist Forum in New York. Okay, now it's getting close to time to go. In fact, we have only 2 minutes left. Let's see. Now, if I haven't quizzed you today, do come for breakfast at 9:30 next week. We'll continue this. We'll probably have many more people to get acquainted with. And we want you, I would prefer, you don't have to, you may not want to, but I would prefer that you leave your nameplates down here so we'll have them ready for next week. So first, go ahead.
Okay, now, David, did you want to say anything about next week?
Just that we meet here at 9:30 for something to eat, and then the other class, the Sabbath School Seminars, is going to join us, And I've invited the Spanish-speaking class to join. I don't know how many will be. So all 3 Sabbath schools on this floor will meet here. And
Will they meet here in this room or in the?
we'll have a meal out here in the foyer.
Okay.
And while I'm still speaking, maybe I could say that on May 25, we'll have the Dalton Baldwin lecture, and the speaker will be the person who wrote a massive biography of John Whitner, who was the man who helped many Jews escape from Holland during World War II times. So it should be interesting.
Okay, and do you need a count of how many would be here next week?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Well, wait a minute. So we're all going to join for breakfast, but we're not all going to join for the 10:30.
No. We'll eat together and then go our separate ways.
Are they going to help pay for all this?
Is this
That's under negotiations. They'd like to, yeah.
Okay, great.
It's not a potluck.
No, it's not a potluck. It's going to be catered by Loma Linda.
What do you think, Donna? Should it be a potluck? There's a lot of push and pull on that. But I just thought, since it's Mother's Day weekend, maybe we should not have it a potluck.
I'm happy either way. One way is more cheap, and the other way more expensive probably. But I don't know that should be the deciding factor. Just once a year.
Yeah, Dr. Long.
If it's being catered, I guess celiacs have to bring their own, because there was never anything for celiacs. So it's catered around Loma Linda.
Yeah, good point. I think the thing that David is thinking about, and I've been thinking about, is just the convenience for a larger group.
What does the university allow? I know we're not supposed to eat in this room.
Well, they'll allow us to eat in the foyer.
Okay. And they'll allow us to either bring food or use a catering?
Right. Well, I don't know if they'll allow us to bring food. That's another factor. They want us to buy food from the university.
Well, then,
So
maybe that's what we ought to do.
Yeah, I think we should. Now, the other class would rather potluck it, but I'm inclined to have it catered.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ron. Just 2 things. I'll ask this question. What is the caffeinated drink that you can drink in Texas as an Adventist?
Oh,
What? Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
And by the way, this DNA thing too it has a certain validity to it. My wife found a half sister through the DNA project. So,
yes.
So anyway, all right. So at this time we'll have our benediction, and remember to turn in your name. And okay, are we ready? The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Yeah, to me, I mean, you know, here.